Hey, David here with Guide Recommended. Let's talk about and tie the Clouser's Minnow. But before we jump into tying this guy up, I'm going to show a little clip from my website on Guide Recommended. It's kind of a free fly tying class. Steps through all the basics, 5 different modules, and then it goes into a whole host of flies to learn the fundamentals. So stay tuned for that, and let's tie this guy up.
So I'm going to break in just for a second and talk about the link down below. It takes you to a page, how to tie flies. It's a step-by-step instruction. So I've organized each of my videos into 5 different tutorial lessons, like this one, types of flies and fly tying hooks. You got the tools, you got the knots, you've got the materials, you've got the techniques, and then each one of these lessons has a link to a page that has an article about the materials, a video, and then more instruction and description of what is in each one of those lessons. Let's go back real quick. As you continue down on the page, it gets into tying those fundamental flies to learn the skills.
All right, so let's do our Clouser's Minnow. Kind of had a variation with a yellow top, so when it's in the water, it actually fishes like this. So the Clouser traditionally has a white underside, some flash, and some yellow, reds, whatever your color wants to be. We're going to go with a pink this next round, but that is it. All right, let's go here. We got our size 6 streamer hook. Now you can vary this everything. I'm going kind of a freshwater version. Vary this, just huge flies, small flies, big flies, all of that. So divide the hook up into thirds, and you wrap back to the first third. All right, let's get my, and this is where you're going to put your dumbbells in. So I'm going to use some lead dumbbells. Secure these well. So you hear different people talk about different wraps for these. I'll use a traditional figure 8, and then really a lot of what I'll end up doing is gluing it, right? So I'm going to use some UV glue on this. I'm going to do a, I don't know, a circle wrap, helicopter wrap. All right, you want to end up around the front of the fly. All right, so I'm in the front at about the halfway point between the lead and the eye. So at this point, I will dab on just a little bit of my UV. Just a drop there, and you really want to secure those threads. The threads are what's holding this guy on. Give that a hit with the torch. I'm using a 120 denier white thread. All right, we got that on. All right, first to go on, so this would be the bottom of the fly. So white bucktail, deer hair, a good pinch, right? And when I say a good pinch, let's call it a half a pencil, maybe 3 toothpicks, right? All right, so I got that. Grab it towards the probably the 2/3 back. Pull out any guard hairs that you might have. All right, so with my pinch, I like to measure about 2 hook lengths. I will cut that off nice and square. All right. Pointing down on an angle towards that eye, 2 loops around, and then tighten, wrap back, securing this well, right? My thread wraps are one on top of the other, really pulling down, giving that some tension. I want to hold that hair in place, wrap forward. That will give me the starts of my nice wrap. Okay, if you can see, I've separated the hair from the shank over, pulling up. I want to keep all that hair on top of that hook. 2 wraps, drop it down, and then loose wraps back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gets me back to the hook point. I'm not pulling real hard. Wrap me back up, and then back to the front. All right. Let's flip this guy over. At this point, it's time to put in some crystal flash. I'm using silver, but you can use every color. Popular color is, the golds and the chromes. I'm going to get about 6 of these. Cut them. Let's get one more. And then I'm going to show you a little trick. All right. With these, I'll pull a couple longer than the others. So I got varying lengths. Let me get my thread back up just behind there. All right. Wrap it in. All right. So I've got that positioned. Now I will pull it so it's uneven links between the front and the back, holding my thread down, securing everything. All right. There we go. Now I try to get a little bit of the crystal flash on both sides of the hook, and this gives me that nice varied length. We'll trim off the ends of those long guys when we get done. So get my hook, my thread back up in front. Let's put our pink bucktail in. Another little pinch. All right. Cutting close to my hide. Same technique again. Grab at the last third. Pull out the short hairs. Measure for length. Okay, a little bit longer. Square it off. Pull a little bit out. Again, the same technique we had before, pointing down towards that eye. Wrap it in, 2 wraps, pull her tight. All right, I'm wrapping right back into the eye, the dumbbell eyes, and then wrapping back forward, one on top of another. Now this is what gives me that nice tapered head that is so traditional on these minnows. Alright, see I got a couple strays over on this side. Now we're time to whip finish. Now I like to finish this off with some UV glue, and I will trim off that flash after I get this set. Around the eye, bottom side. Let's do some trimming. Just a little bit longer than my hair length for the flash. And because I like to have a black eyes on this, get my marker out and Mark this guy up. There it is, the Clouser Minnow. Excellent fly. Get out and tie this thing, get out and fish this thing. It works.